Alright, hey guys, it's Wally here, and in this video I'm gonna be ranking what I think are the top 5 strongest civilizations in 0 AD. So starting off the list at number 5 are the Spartans. The Spartans are a civilization that excels in the late game, who are pretty average in the early game, lacking any economy bonuses. So the Roman do receive a 50% bonus to their hit points, making them more resilient to rushes. But upon reaching phase 2, the Spartans unlock the Skiritae, which are strong infantry swordsmen that can still harvest resources but at a reduced rate, and they also have a higher train time and cost more metal. The Spartans are also one of the 3 civilizations which can train champions in phase 2, and those are the champion Black Cloaks from the Stoa for some serious frontline strength, and in phase 3 is where the Spartans really shine. They have one of the best heroes in the game, Brasidas, and he gives all javelin units plus 25% damage and plus 1 armor, letting the Spartans have the strongest ranged units in the game. Also the Take, the Agouge, gives all spearmen plus 25% hit points, and that includes the champion Spartan hoplites, which well makes them the strongest spearmen in the whole game. And the Spartans also have decent cavalry options, with javelin and spear cavalry being available to them. But they do have a 10% population debuff, which makes things more difficult, and is also the reason why they are only in place number 5. In place 4 rank the Romans. Just like the Spartans, the Romans lack any economy bonuses. An early game difference for the Romans is that they train swordsmen instead of spearmen, and spear cavalry instead of javelin cavalry from the civic center. So they will have a big amount of swordsmen pretty early on, letting them deal with mechanical siege fairly easily. In phase 2, the Romans don't have anything special going on, but in phase 3, this civilization does have some nice options. So they have 2 good heroes, which makes choosing one a bit more difficult. And from the 4th they can create bow shooters, rams and catapults, which all have a 10% damage bonus. But they can all also be made from the entrenched army camp that Romans can only make in neutral and enemy territory. The entrenched army camp can make the previously mentioned siege weapons and also natural units like skirmishers, swordsmen and also cavalry. And the Romans also have siege walls that can as well only be made in neutral or enemy territory. So that is a pretty interesting combo right there. You can use it in many different ways. And the Romans are also the only civilization with champion sword cavalry. They are great at raiding and also pretty quick ambushes, surprising your enemy. And now simply put, I think the really good thing about Romans is that they don't really have any downsides about that. They can deal with anything. But they also aren't really too special. They don't have an early good boom, which is probably, I guess, their only weakness, that they are pretty weak in early economy booming. But coming in at the middle of the pack, we have Athenians. So the Athenians are one of my favorite civilizations due to their champion rush coupled with slingers or cavalry. So the Athenian economy bonus gives them a 10% metal gather rate increase each time they phase up, and being a slinger civilization lets them also have a faster boom, due to the fact that the slingers don't require as much wood and cost stone. The slingers are also great for defense or even an intimidating rush. In phase 2 they unlock the champions, letting them do the previously mentioned phase 2 champion rush. But in phase 3, the Athenians unlock the strongest hero, in my opinion of course, in the game, ValihrAnt. He gives all units in his formation plus 3 armor and plus 15% increased movement speed, and all existing javelin infantry plus 15% movement speed as well, going up to 30 if they are in formation too. The armor bonus from ValihrAnt lets Athenians create super durable armies, giving simple spearmen armor as good as champions from other civilizations as well, so they are very tanky. And the only siege option for the Athenians are catapults and bow shooters, which does make them slow down a bit for enemy defenses instead of being able to simply charge them head on with rams. But if you have a mass of slingers, you can again simply destroy them using the brute force of them, as they do have a slight little bit of crash damage too, so they can bring down buildings quite quickly as well. In place 2, we have the Celtic Civilisations, which are the Gauls and the Britons. They simply don't have enough differences between them to let them take up 2 spots, and I wanted others to get more of the spotlight. The Celtic Civilisations have a great economic bonus of most buildings increasing their population cap on top of the houses, and they also have the rotary mill, which makes farming more efficient. In phase 2, the Gauls can train champion naked fanatics for some early raiding, but they aren't good in frontline fighting, though they do counter cavalry very well. But the Britons can train war dogs, which don't take any population space, but are limited by the amount of kennels you have, which again the kennels are limited to 5, and you can train 10 dogs per each kennel you have. Their cities and soldiers all cost only food and wood, except the sword cavalry, which cost a bit of metal as well, and their barracks all cost only wood. So these two civilizations are very good at spamming, as they don't need to invest too much to get their barracks up and going. Both of these factions as well have very good hero choices, but their only siege option are ValihrAnts. And they can also make champions in barracks, which is very nice to have. Again, they were very close to the 4th spot, but before that, I have some honorable mentions of civilizations that almost made the list, but well, didn't. The Iberians, they are a very defense-oriented civilization with decent hero options, but they also have champion fire cavalry, which can destroy any buildings in just a matter of seconds, so you have to watch out for them. Macedonians, they are an overall average civilization, which can make siege workshops in which they can create all 4 of the siege weapons, which are the rams, boats, katas and siege towers. But they don't have any swordsmen, which is their ultimate downfall and the reason they do make the list. Seleucids, they have great cavalry archers and also champion cavalry archers, which I really like. But they have a pretty slow boom, and also their swordsmen can only be made in military colonies, which again makes them susceptible to early siege attacks, and that is again the reason I didn't really include them in the list. And at 4th place we have the Ptolemies, which is also my favorite civilization due to how strong it simply is. The Ptolemies have 3 houses, farmsteads and storehouses, but they take much longer to build. Also, the Ptolemy skirmishers have half of the usual food cost changed for metal cost, letting them create plenty of men early for strong defense. And the Ptolemies also have camel archers, letting them have exceptional early game capabilities, but their strength doesn't end there. The Ptolemy boom is only rivaled by Gauls and Britons, but in phase 3 they have 3 great hero choices, one for spamming, one for making your pikemen into a simple meatball that cannot be killed by basically anything, and well, Cleopatra for some DPS and also trolling. In naval maps, they have the lighthouse giving them a big advantage, as they can see the coastline everywhere, and so they can see what their enemies are doing, where their docks are at, and also oftentimes where the enemy navy is at. And also, to make it even better for the Ptolemies, they have quinquiremes and juggernauts, which are the strongest ships in the game. And if you garrison catapults on them, you can create kata ships, which are basically unstoppable, as they are basically catapults stuck up on ships which still behave like catapults, and so that they can destroy anything on water and on land if it is close enough to shore. The Ptolemies also had a library, which makes their takes 10% cheaper, and that adds up pretty quickly. In the forts, as I mentioned, they can make catapults, bow shooters, siege towers and war elephants. Also, their pikemen, as I mentioned, are also tanks without even the hero. But the main con of the Ptolemies is a big reliance on minerals. Their infantry ranged units all cost minerals, and if you run out of them, you will be forced to make, well, camels plus pikemen, which if you haven't spec'd into any of them, haven't gone any of the takes for them, you will be in a bad spot. So if you realize you're running out of minerals, well, it is time to start getting the takes for camels so they can at least hold up. And another problem with the Ptolemies is that they lack swordsmen from their barracks or civic centers. You need to create a military colony to fight back against siege weapons. So that is not great at all. So a strategy you can do against the Ptolemies is simply rushing to phase 3 and creating a few rams and hoping that, well, the Ptolemy player won't have reached phase 3 or how made a military colony to create some swordsmen to defend against that. And well, this was my list of the top 5 civilizations in 0 AD. And if you want, you can put your own list of the top 5 best civilizations in the comments. Explain why you agree with me, why you don't, what you think is wrong, why is incorrect, all that good stuff. But anyways, if you like the video, leave a like. And if you haven't yet subscribed, feel free to do so, and I'll see you all later. Peace!